So it's going to be Kamala Harris. Yes, she is going to be the candidate that takes on Donald Trump for the presidency of the United States. I'm joined live down the line from Washington, D.C. by Jon-Christopher Bua, White House correspondent at Real Political News, and he joins me right now. Jon-Christopher, I wonder, is Joe Biden actually going to stay as president all the way through until the inauguration next January? Or would it be fairer on the American people for Kamala Harris to take that position now so the voters can see her in action?
Well, we're seeing her in action now, Nigel. First of all, I've had this date with you pending for a long time, and I'm so glad I was invited to be on with you. You're as charming as can be, and I'm happy to be with you. If I saw her, I'm going to be honest with you. I've known Joe Biden for 30 years. I've known Kamala Harris for just a few years. And I have to say, we had lots of different feelings about her, very capable. She was the Attorney General in California. She was a great prosecutor. And I pity Trump because he's the felon and she's going to stick it to him. But the thing that's really amazing is yesterday, she made a speech from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I'm a speech coach. I've trained people to make speeches, political, non-political candidates, people you would know, and I can't tell you who they were. And I was just amazed by her excitement, her ability to get to the topic and break it down. She knew who her audience was. She was connected. She was strong and powerful. And people complained about, well, she's too smiley. She was a powerhouse. And I have to tell you, I was wowed by her. And I think if you saw that, I think your mind would change. She's not anything but a powerhouse. And remember, she was a vice president. She had to fulfill the goals and the legislation of the president.
Well, yes.
But now she's on her own, and she is going to just be a killer.
Well, she was the vice president. You're quite right. And Joe Biden gave her specific responsibility for the border. Millions have come since the last election. And she wouldn't even visit the place. I mean, that doesn't suggest to me as strong a record as perhaps you're suggesting.
Well, with all due respect, I think you may have been visiting Mr. Trump a bit too much because you've got his talking points about the border and others.
No, America's talking about it. It's not just Donald Trump.
She is not the border czar, as they like to call her. She was assigned to work on those issues and bring that legislation to Congress. And it was the rule from your friend and I've known for 60 years. I grew up a mile away from him in Jamaica, Queens, New York. And he said to his boys, who I call his acolytes or his disciples, don't give Joe Biden a break on this border issue. I want to win. And that's what they did in line. They drank the Kool-Aid, and it's not her fault. But she went down and she did visit some countries, and she put the best foot forward on that. And they'll continue. And we do have to get Congress to make sure that we have real strong border regulations. You've got your own issues, I know, and it's tough everywhere.
Well, yeah, we've got our own issues. Tens of thousands of people coming illegally, maybe 50,000 this year, something like that we know of. But in the case of America, we're talking about millions. So it is a very different quantum, isn't it?
Well, yes, but, we have a regulations and we have rules and we have to increase those and we have to get real strong legislation. But we need, as you said, we need to work together. And both sides of the aisle need to work together for the people who are the immigrants and for people who are being taken advantage of by those who come over. It's not an easy subject, and we have to really pull it together. Maybe she'll show that kind of compassion and she'll show that kind of strength because she's going to be somebody to be reckoned with. And I tell you, I was so impressed.
No, very interesting. And final thought: who's going to win on November the 5th?
Oh, no, she'll win. The fact there's so much energy now, and you can see the polls, and the youth are behind her. Even Nikki Haley's voters are supporting her. She is showing real new, as JFK said, a torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century. Well, they're not born in this century, but this is who America is dying for. Joe Biden, well, I know, a wonderful man, an honorable man, but they want a new generation, and they've got it with her. And my God, imagine a woman president. You know, you had Lady Thatcher.
We've had three female prime ministers.
I know.
Jon-Christopher Bua, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts on that. Well, very interesting, very, very bullish there about Kamala Harris. Interesting, back in 2016, I was the only political figure in the country saying I thought Trump was the right man. Suddenly we find all sorts of former prime ministers saying the same thing. What are your thoughts?
Trump is an extraordinary man because he's unusual for a politician in the sense he actually does what he says he's going to do. And that's what shocks, I think, the left a lot. They say they don't say what they're going to do. And then when they do something, it never works. He's unusual in that context. And I think I would be surprised if he loses against someone like Kamala Harris. I think Trump will win. It'll be close, but he'll win.
No, that's my view too. Stella, do you know much about Kamala Harris? Do any of us know much about her?
I know enough about Kamala Harris. I was an organizer on the first Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016, so I do have a fondness for Americans and American politics.
Yeah.
I find it quite sad when British politicians who previously would not have even, there would have been no suggestion of them even speaking to Donald Trump, let alone admiring him, are now pretending like they are his best friends. Not you, by the way, I'm talking about other people.
No, I've been very consistent.
You've been very consistent, exactly.
Yeah.
For others, I find that you are just trying to get some of his fame and popularity. They're just trying to, what's the phrase? Travel on his coattails?
Yes, yes.
That one. And I find it sad. Like, it's fine for you because you've always been his supporter. But for other people, I find it really pretentious.
Yes, well, Boris Johnson even turned up last week, despite some of the things he said about it.
He was speaking to an empty room.
Which pretty much sums up your point.